and then college basketball at the highest level. So Cody's going to be a good player. There's no doubt about it. It's just I want the fans to understand that he's young and he's going to make mistakes, but he's going to fight through them. He's going to get better. He's going to be a heck of a lot better come January and February than he is today. But that daily improvement is something that Cody and I talk about all the time.
Hey, Coach, given the randomness of the NCAA tournament, can you set expectations before a season about how far a team should go?
No, I mean, other than, you want to advance. And you want to advance, obviously, for this program to take the next step, we have to advance past the first weekend. And so is that an expectation? Absolutely it is. Each team is a little bit different. Yes, when you get to, that time of the season in March, and it seems like a long, long ways away, although it'll get here quickly, what you don't know is your matchup. And that's why, for college basketball, like the games we play in November, sometimes people look at our non-conference schedule and they think, oh, they need to be playing more power. Like the teams we're playing are going to be good teams, and how we perform in November affects the seed you get come March and how we play in December. So, like, really every game matters in terms of preparing your team for that seed. Some teams are playing for NCAA tournament berths, and some teams are playing for seeds, and we'd like to be a team that's playing for a seed. Right now we're a team that's playing for a berth, as most teams are, because it's not given. But I think as a season goes, each game becomes a little bit more important. And I think one of the things our veterans, learned from last year, when you look at last year's team, is some of those early opportunities, and Grambling comes to mind, and UMass in the tournament comes to mind, at Cal comes to mind. We had some opportunities that we let slip away, and now we're fighting and scratching and clawing for an NCAA tournament berth that didn't come. We can't let that happen this year. And to be thinking about how far we're going to go, look, let's just get there first and see where we're at. But certainly my expectations is I want to see this program, get to the second or even the third weekend of March, and then we can have a lot of fun.
Hey, Coach, with your freshman class, just what stands out to you most about them?
The talent. I mean, when I see Cody, I see Courtney Anderson, who just today was his first practice back for, 10 practices or so, how many ever he missed. I see Asan Jop. I see Bangat Dak, who's two young bigs that are really, really talented. And Courtney's going to be a great player here at Colorado before it's all said and done. So I see those four guys. Now, again, we don't know how long we're going to have Cody. That's a year-to-year thing. But those other three guys, great core to build around. And I think, once November signing comes, I can't talk about the guys we're going to sign in November yet until that day comes, but, we're going to stack another good class on top of this one, and that's going to give us a good base moving forward, for this program. Because, again, I said this 14 years ago when I got the job, we want to build this program the right way and for sustained success. And to me, I know it's a different world out there today, with all the things going on, but I still believe in recruiting really good high school players, developing them, watching them grow, and trying to stay out of the transfer portal as much as we can. Obviously, we had to go get Eddie because of what Lawson did at the end of last year. So if you got to do it, you got to do it. But I'd like to stay with high school kids if we can.
Tad, you're well aware of this, but if you're going to compete at the top of the Pac-12 and make a run in March, it's going to be predicated on defense. So
yep.
Is this team capable, and are they willing, that have you seen so far?
Absolutely. I would say yes and yes. We're very capable, and they are willing. I mean, I think our leadership, Tristan Da Silva and Luke O'Brien, are two seniors, and then also, Javon Hadley was a junior, and KJ Simpson and Julian Hammond, those five guys, I think they understand. And then I look at our young guys, their competitiveness. Again, when Eddie gets back in the fold, his competitiveness, because that's really what defense starts with. It starts with a grit and a will to defend. I say this about Cody all the time when people ask about his game. He's not just a capable defender, he's a willing defender. And I think we've got a lot of guys like that. We'll switch a lot of ball screens this year. We'll double the post. We'll trap some ball screens. We want to dictate the tempo of the game and the energy of the game with our defense. Right now, we got guys that are reaching a little bit too much and fouling a little bit too much. But I like our willingness and certainly our capability. The one thing, if you see this team out there, we're long. We got great length with this team, and length only helps you if you use it. You know, we get in a stance and you get wide, and we got a lot of guys playing defense with their hands at their sides right now, so we're still creating some habits there. But I like the defensive potential of this team for sure, Mark.
Ted, you've had teams that have reached expectations. You've had some teams that maybe have fallen short. With the high ceiling for this team, what's your thought about expectations? How do you approach them? How do you manage them?
Yeah, again, my expectation is we get better. We're better in December than we were in November. We're better in January than we were in December, and as it goes. So, because I think if you're playing your best basketball in March, you got a chance to play in the postseason. And again, if we take care of the opportunities in November and December on our schedule that we should take care of, we'll put ourselves in a position to be a NCAA tournament team. And so that's our expectations. They're not going to change. The standards that we have for ourselves internally are not going to change. We want to compete for a Pac-12 championship. Look, we won our first year in the league. This is our last year in the league. I mean, it's only fitting we go out with one. But we got to go make that happen. It's not going to be given to us, and that's my expectation, to compete for a championship and to get in the NCAA tournament and then advance and have some fun. So that's what I think this team's expectation should be.
Hey, Ted. I have two questions for you real quick. I know you don't get to see the women's team play a lot because you guys are playing at the same time, but
right.
Their office is right across the hall from you. How excited were you for JR in that program to get to the second weekend last year?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, I knew before the season started last year how good they were going to be. Now, she's pretty understated sometimes, and she doesn't like to beat her own chest, but I knew they were going to be good last year. I didn't know they were going to get to the Sweet 16, but I knew they were good. They've got really good guard play. They got some really good bigs in their program. So, yeah, we don't get a chance to, break down film together or spend a lot of time together. But, I'll catch an end of her practice or a beginning of her practice, and I watch as many games as I can. But I think she's done, and her staff has done a great job of accumulating talent and building a culture. And so I was extremely happy for them because they've been banging on the door here for a while, and to see them break through like they did last year was great.
And then the second part of that is they have high expectations again because they have so many people coming back. You guys have high expectations. Are you excited for what this season could be for University of Colorado basketball, men and women, just combined?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think when your teams are winning, everybody's winning. It's fantastic. I look at what Mark Wetmore has done with the programs that he coaches. He coaches a bunch of programs, but like what he's done and the level he's done it at and the sustainability of that is like, when I think about that, it's humbling because it's like, man, he's done an unbelievable job. So you see JR, you see Danny Sanchez with our soccer program, or Annie Elliott with our lacrosse. I mean, I'm pulling for all the programs here at the University of Colorado, and obviously JR and I, we're in the same season, and we don't see each other as much as we'd like because when we're traveling, they're at home, and vice versa. But really excited for her program.
Hey there. I'm not very observant, but I noticed that on your shirt it says family instead of Tad. Why do you want to I have two questions. First one is, why do you want to stay out of the transfer portal and build through high school recruits?
Why? There's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is with the new NIL rules, it's a hell of a lot more expensive to recruit out of the transfer portal. Okay? And that's just a fact. You talk to any coach, okay? That's not the only reason, though. The main reason, I believe, is that there's nothing wrong with transferring. Transferring it's been a part of college athletics the 30 years I've been a part of it. So it's now some guys had to sit out for 28 years, and now they've been able to play immediately eligible for 1 year. And again, not in every case. There's legitimate reasons for kids to transfer, but there's always some sort of, in my opinion, something that didn't work out. at the previous place. And what was that? And that's not all there's a lot of things you have to dig through in that transfer portal that you might be taking on somebody else's baggage. And I'd rather not take that risk if I don't have to. The one thing I do know about high school kids is when they come to college, they're wide-eyed. They want to learn. They want to be coached. They don't want to be coddled. And they don't all stay here. We've had kids transfer out of our program. But I like to watch kids develop. When I see Tristan Da Silva now as a senior, and I have, recollections of him as a freshman and how far he's come physically, emotionally, mentally, academically, and to see him get his degree from Colorado. And then I was just talking to Bangat Dak, one of our freshmen here after practice today. I said, Bangat, his head is spinning right now. And I said, I just want you to watch Tristan Da Silva, because Tristan's been in the program for 4 years. He's not thinking out there, he's playing. That's where you're going to get. And so, again, the family portion of this program is the young guys come in and learn from the old guys. Well, when you recruit from the transfer portal, you might get a guy for 1 or 2 years. Again, not to say we won't ever do it. It's kind of like junior college players. Not to say we won't ever recruit a junior college player, but I'd much rather get young kids as freshmen. You get to coach them. You get to teach them. Our fans get to watch them grow and develop. They get to know them. Tristan has lifelong relationships now at the University of Colorado through our booster program, through our fan base, that he wouldn't have if he's here for 1 or 2 years. So there's a multitude of reasons. I don't know if any of them are good, but it's just you got to be who you are. You got to be true to what you believe in, and that's, again, I never say never. I never say we're never going to recruit. I just would rather get a high school kid.
The second question is, my memory's not very good either, but I think last year in the Final Four you had 3 programs that had never been there before.
Yep.
So we won't get into the Miami way maybe right now. But
Right. It's okay. A lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, there is. Do you think there's more opportunity? Was that just a one-off, or I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
The question
I don't
is, do you have to be Duke or Kentucky? Can you be Miami or?
You could absolutely. You look at Miami, you look at Florida Atlantic last year, and those programs, they were older, and that's one of the reasons people recruit the transfer portal. They want to, there's an adage, get old and stay old, and I get that. You're playing with 24, 25-year-old guys against 18, 19-year-old guys, advantage the 24 and 25-year-olds. So I get that. I just think, I look back to when Butler did it, and they did it with, some guys that they developed and grew in the program. Wichita State, they recruited Ron Baker and Fred Van Fleet as freshmen, and they weren't in the Final Four as freshmen and sophomores. As juniors, they made a run, and as seniors, they got to the Final Four. So there's a lot of different ways to get to where you want to get. I would love to get Colorado to a Final Four. I daydream about it. I haven't had any night dreams, unfortunately. But man, driving to the office, or when you're and Mark, you go to the Final Fours. There's a lot of people at the University of Colorado in our athletic department that have never been to a Final Four. That's a shame, because it's a lot of fun, and to see the unification of a fan base and an alumni base is really special. And I don't know if I'll be able to do it as long as I'm the head coach here, but I'm going to keep trying. And I like this team, and I like, and again, you catch lightning in a bottle, who knows what can happen. That's what makes the NCAA tournament such a special three-week event.
Hey, Coach, we saw Tristan Da Silva make a big leap last year. In which ways have you seen him grow as a leader and as a player this offseason?
Confidence. Yeah, without a doubt. Tristan is a confident player. He knows this is his team. He knows that he needs to be aggressive for this team to be as good as we need to be. He's not afraid to open his mouth now. He's letting his teammates know what the expectations are, what they need to be doing offensively, defensively. He needs some help there. He's going to get it from KJ. He's going to get it from Luke. He's going to get it from Julian, Javon Hadley. I keep going back to those 5 guys because they've been here and done that. But Tristan is the guy everybody looks to, and he's going to be critical to this team this year, both offensively and defensively. But I think if you ask me what's the biggest difference, it's confidence.
Coach, the older guys on this team had a heck of an older guy class when it comes
Yeah.
to just like Evan Batty and things like that. Are you seeing them implement the things that maybe they learned from guys like them?
Yes, and they're doing it in their own way. And it gets back to Mark's question. You know, why do we recruit high school kids? Well, yeah, Tristan and Luke, when they were freshmen and sophomores, they had McKinley Wright and Evan Batty. I mean, who better to learn from, you know, how to lead a team and how to compete every day than those two guys? And now they're seniors. And so that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's their time now. And I always, when I think back to college basketball teams at Colorado that I've coached, I got to identify with them because I'm not very smart either, and I don't have a very good memory either, but I remember senior years. I remember Josh Scott's senior year. I remember Derek White's senior year. Like, and maybe it's a good memory, maybe it's a bad memory, but that's how. And so this year, to me, is going to be defined by Tristan DeSilva and Luke O'Brien because it's their senior year. And yeah, so again, the young guys learn from the old guys, and the old guys got to teach, and they got to set the example.
Hey, Coach, just outside just now, KJ talked about how missing so much time at the end of last year kind of gave him a renewed appreciation for playing. And he also talked about how far he's come in the weight room this summer. Are those two things, an increased hunger and an increased physicality? Is that something you've noticed in the first couple weeks?
Yeah. You know, when I see KJ climbing up into Julian, you know, full court defensively, and I see him climbing up into Cody and making Cody, like, uncomfortable with the ball, like that's what KJ Simpson can do. And in order to do that, you got to be in great shape to pick up full court. You gotta be strong, and we know KJ has always been fast and quick and very explosive offensively, but I think that defensive mindset that he can bring to this team can really benefit us this year. So KJ's had a great summer again, distributing the ball and scoring the ball, finding that balance. You know, I talked to him about, you know, when Spencer Dinwiddie was here and Derek White was here, two really good scoring guards, but they did more than just score the ball for us. They also distributed it for us. So finding that balance about when do we need you to get a bucket and go score, and when do we need you to get Tristan a shot, or when do you need to get Cody a look, or when do you need to get Eddie a low post touch, or Javon Hadley, or whoever. Those are the things he's got to start thinking about in terms of running this basketball team.
Ted, you talked about building this program with high school kids and the transfer portal and stuff. There's rumors out there that there was some interest from other schools in Tristan DeSilva. There's a crazy number out there that maybe one school had offered him this summer. When he comes back, if there was interest in him from other schools, what does that say about him? What does it say about your program? Does that make you feel good about where this program's at and the kids you have in it?
I couldn't feel better about guys like Tristan DeSilva. And yeah, there's a little truth to those rumors. There's no doubt about it. You know, the numbers, one thing you can't do right now, I can tell you, is believe the numbers that are thrown out there, because you never know what's true and what's not true. What you know is what kind of relationship do you have? What does he want as he returns for his senior year? What's best for him? Tristan and I started talking about that last year at this time, you know, going into his junior year. I'm having conversations with KJ right now. You know, as a junior, he's going to be a senior next year. Like, you can't wait until the season's over with, and you've got to rely on your relationship that you build with these young men and their families through the times that they're here. And if you don't have a relationship with roots and where they really are invested in caring, you can lose guys. But look, the one thing that NIL and the transfer portal has done is it's made our business a transactional business. And we are not in the transaction business, okay? We are in the relationship business. We're in the education business. We're in growing into a family business. That's the culture that we want to create at Colorado, that I think we have created. And without that, maybe Tristan doesn't come back to Colorado, but I'm thankful that he did. I'm appreciative that he did, and it's a testament to his character and what's important to him. And you know, one thing I've learned in my life is every time you make a decision based on money, it can go wrong in a big way. When you make decisions for the reasons that are important to you and your value system, things usually work out.
Hey, Coach, you talked on about improved shooting this year. I talked with Joe, and he talked about his shooting at the center position and the implementation of five-out offense. How do you think the transition to five-out offense this year from last year will improve the offense and just the team in general?
Well, I think the big thing, it'll improve our spacing. I think it'll improve our ability to spread the floor and drive the floor. The only way and the only reason we're doing the five-out is because when I look at our lineups, when Eddie's not in the game, okay, and I see the personnel that we have, it makes a lot of sense. Now, when Eddie's in the game, we'll still go five-out, but and that doesn't mean we're not going to post the ball, okay? It just means we're going to space the floor and spread the floor, and then we might, because we got multiple guys in this team. I think about Luke O'Brien, you know, as a big 6'7" wing that can create mismatches. Tristan, we know, can do that. You know, Asan, Bangat, multiple guys can get down there and post up. So we'll still post the ball. We'll still, you know, play inside out. It's just we'll space the floor a little bit better, and hopefully it'll help our three-point shooting and our ability to get to the rim and get fouled.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if it was quite 14 years ago, but a long time ago I remember you telling us if you could go back, you would have majored in psychology.
Yeah.
I'm curious how far you feel you've come in that department.
I think I've come a long way. You know, every year you coach, you hope, you know, you get a little bit better, a little bit smarter. Obviously, there's no teacher like experience, but I think, you know, there's certain things as a coach now that maybe I let go, maybe I turn the other cheek that I wouldn't have done 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. I just think you try to understand what are the things that matter. And to me, what equates to winning? And what's going to deter from winning and what's going to help winning? And those are the things that I've tried to dial into and coach and understanding young people and again, getting to know them, getting to know where they're at. Like, again, it gets back to why do you want guys for 4 years? Well, I look at Luke O'Brien, I see his body language, I see his facial expressions, I see Tristan, like, I know what they're thinking, I know what they're feeling, and guess what? They know me, and they know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and so that understanding of each other is really what psychology is all about, right? You got to understand what makes people tick, what makes them play to their best of their abilities, and that's my job as a coach is to make sure that happens, and it's not always a one-size-fits-all. So you got to know each kid and their temperament, and that's what our staff, I think, has done a good job of. And I got to mention our staff. I don't think my assistant coaches get enough credit, quite frankly. You know, we've got 3 former head coaches on our staff: Mike Rohn, Rick Ray, Bill Greer. All have been head coaches at various levels, and they're great help, you know, to me and to our players. And we talk about that when we recruit kids. If I'm out recruiting or if I got to miss a practice, I'm sick for a couple of days, and our team's in good hands. We have a great coaching staff in my mind, and I don't think they get talked about enough. So shout out to them.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Go Buffs.
We'll switch seats here and outline the coach Ian Lockhead. Head of the ski season as the team's preparing for another women's national game. So, Coach, you want to start with an opening statement, just talk about the team this year, and you're excited to get things going?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, everyone. Super excited to get rolling. I just started here in May. We just came off our weekend with our skee ball, which is a big fundraiser. We celebrated Richie Rokos's amazing career. Obviously, super humbling for me to be stepping into those shoes. Yana, our new head coach, she's out of town. She wasn't able to make it, but she's been amazing to work with. She's doing a great job leading the program. On the Alpine side, We only lost 2 people who competed for us at NCAAs last year. We've got Louis Fausa back, who was second in national championships last year, Emma Hammergard on the ladies' side, who was an All-American, Jacob Dilling, who had a great season for us last year, and then we're hosting NCAA championships this year in Steamboat, March 6th through 9th, and obviously for our program, that's always the big target, is to win a national championship.
All right, questions?
Can you talk a little bit about the skee ball and the outpouring of the community that's there year after year after year? I think it's the 53rd year of skee ball, about what that says about this program and how robust it is for 5 decades?
Yeah, for sure. 53 years. And honestly, for me, I actually skied at University of Denver, but getting here to see you immediately, the thing that's stuck out to me is just the pride in being a Buff, the pride in being here at CU, and I think that that's kind of magnified within the ski program. It really is something that people continue to be proud of and are proud to be a part of it, and it was amazing to be there on Saturday night and see all the alums and all the supporters and just the energy and the enthusiasm and everybody's excitement for this team is amazing, for sure.
Ian, you just touched on this a moment ago and you referenced Richie, but I'm wondering, so as the Alpine coach, when you think of the names that have coached that aspect of skiing here, Marolt, Rokos, those are some pretty heavy-duty names right there. And so you touched on it, but the fact that you get to now sit in that seat and play a similar role here for Colorado, that's got to be a little bit, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but certainly eye-opening, I would think, for a coach, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Richie and Bill Marolt and Bob Beatty, I mean, these guys are legends in our sport. So it's super humbling to be sitting here and being in charge of this program. You know, they've been amazingly welcoming to me. They've offered me advice. They've offered me support. I think that the foundation is kind of laid for what this program is, and obviously I don't have a ton of work to do on the culture side or the enthusiasm side. I mean, that's just kind of built in here, which is unbelievable. I think for me, you know, I coached for the U.S. national team for 6 years. I coached in the Pyeongchang Olympics, and I guess I'm just kind of hoping to bring that experience and that kind of professionalism to a high level, which is where our kids aspire to get to kind of an amazing program that's already here.
Coach, when you have the program that you guys have been running, do y'all feel like y'all get enough attention on campus or your accolades?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a niche sport. Not too many people know about alpine skiing. I think, you know, the people who are in the know obviously respect what I do. I consider our athletes to be, you know, the same level as the football and basketball guys. I mean, they're here with hopes to be a professional skier, with hopes to ski in the Olympics. We've got Magdalena Luchek is back with us this year. She was national champion GS in not this past season, but the one before. She's racing in the opening World Cups in Solden on October 28th. So we're at a high level, but we understand it, you know, it's a niche sport. It's hard to come up and watch, but I think certainly at the NCAA championships, we're going to have a ton of support from, you know, the people we saw at skee ball, the people in the town of Steamboat, and these kind of mountain towns, and people who are more engaged with skiing. But I mean, we would love to have the fanfare, but it's understandable that, you know, skiing is only happening in very limited places around the world. So.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned skiing for DU.
Yep.
What's it like being on the other side of the rivalry when it comes to two programs that are always competing for national titles?
Yeah, you know, we have 20 national championships. DU has 24. Obviously, it's a huge goal for me to pass them. You know, I love DU. I love my teammates. I had an amazing experience there. I would not be sitting up here without that experience that I had. I think Jonas and MR, who run their Alpine team, are friends of mine. They're great coaches. You know, I think the greatest champions, all you want is like a worthy adversary. And I think that between DU and Utah and Dartmouth and UVM, I mean, we're going to get all we can handle, and that's all we really want is high-level competition. I couldn't be happier personally to be here in Boulder and be at CU. I think, yeah, it fits me. Like I said, I mean, I think the pride in being a Buff, the pride in being here in Boulder, all this stuff that Prime is doing and the enthusiasm around that, I mean, it's just amazing. I couldn't be luckier to be here.
Hey, Coach, going off that question, you mentioned Utah. I mean, Utah's been one of the elite programs in recent years with them, DU, and yourself. How much fun is that rivalry between those three teams, and how intense do you expect that to be this year?
Intense. I mean, we all have really good rosters. We all have athletes who compete at high levels. The rivalry is so fun. It doesn't mean anything if you go and ski against people who aren't fast. Like, those are two really strong teams with good coaches, experienced coaches, and yeah, I mean, obviously the hope is to beat them, and it's going to be gratifying just based on how strong they are if we're able to accomplish that, for sure.
We'll do Nikki last one.
Hi, Coach. You've been here since May. I'm just curious what an off-season looks like for you, and specifically, what message are you bringing to recruits like, hey, you should come ski with Colorado?
Yeah, the off-season for us is a bit of a mix. Some of our athletes did summer training with maybe a home ski club, some with a national team if they were invited. Mostly just strength and conditioning is the meat of the summer. Recruiting-wise, I mean, I can't think of a better place to come and be a skier. I mean, we're here in Colorado. Our team's going to go ski at Copper Mountain this weekend. I mean, we can start skiing third week of October. The facilities, the support here at CU, the energy, the extra benefits to the athletes. I mean, you know, having, like I said, I mean, I was on an Olympic team as a coach, and I haven't seen resources and support that compare with CU anywhere. It's incredible here. So, yeah, the recruits I've had, you bring them on campus, they see Folsom Field, they see the Flatirons. I think for skiers, obviously, we're mostly people who come from little mountain towns, so being in a place where you have all the cool things that Boulder does, but we also have easy access to be able to get into the mountains and be hiking, mountain biking, and all the stuff that skiers do for cross training. I mean, I think that's huge. Yeah, I mean, there's no better place to be an alpine skier than CU.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Wow, what a packed room. This is awesome.
Okay, head coach J.R. Payne, schedule was released today. Open against number 1 UCLA, LSU. Sorry. Rankings also released today. We open 20th in the AP, 18th in the coaches poll.
Yep.
So, Coach, you want to open up?
Yeah, just wow. I mean, first of all, thank you all for being here. I remember rooms where there was just a few of us in the media room, so really, really excited to have everyone here today. And also just really excited about our team. I think I say this most years, I love our team, and this year's no different. This is a special group, because we are a very, very veteran-laden group. We have a lot of players that have played a lot of minutes for Colorado basketball and are experienced and hungry and excited and motivated and everything you want a team to be, going into your season. And so, yep, like Seth said, LSU opening night will be an incredible test for us. It's one that we're excited about. And then the rest of the season is also equally challenging. And so, so it's going to be a great year for us. We're ready.
All right.
Back here.
Hey.
To be ranked 20th to start the season, where do you feel like the respect is for your team going into the year?
Honestly, I don't really worry about that too much. We've recruited a bunch of players with these massive chips on their shoulder, people that were under-recruited, they don't have any stars next to their names out of the recruiting process, and we like it that way. I mean, I always say I wouldn't turn away a 5-star kid, but we have a bunch of players that are just love to be an underdog and love to be sort of overlooked or, and love to have something to prove. And so this team, whether we were ranked number 1 or not ranked at all, that's just built in our DNA that we want to prove people wrong. We want to prove that we're really good. And so no matter what the ranking is, this team will have that mindset. So, I mean, we're excited and honored to be preseason top 25. I don't know if we ever have, or it's been a long time, certainly not since I've been here. But we're motivated to continue to climb that ladder, certainly.
JR, when you want to get to a certain level, it's different than when you're at a certain level. All right, I'm just wondering, getting to the Sweet 16, what this team has accomplished now, coming with all these expectations, does that change the way this group approaches its business and kind of carries itself?
Yeah, fortunately, no. I think, I talk about this a lot. Our team talks about it a lot. We're just trying to be excellent today in whatever it is that we're doing right now, whether that's in the weight room, on the track, conditioning, in a practice, in a live scenario. And I think that mindset, we really have instilled that in our ball club since day one when we weren't winning a lot of games. That was the goal. Now that we're winning more games, it's still the goal. And so I think because that is so ingrained in who we are, we don't really have to worry about overlooking anyone or looking too far ahead. I would be worried if we were not locked in on a daily basis, but I trust our upperclassmen to make sure we stay that way. And so I think that puts us in a really good spot.
J.R. Payne, or you're J.R.
No, I'm J.R.
Jalen Sherrod got her. She got a lot of attention throughout that run this last spring.
Yeah,
deservedly so. You've seen her game develop quite a bit. How is she growing this summer as she comes into her 5th year and is now absolutely that leader on your team?
Yeah, Jay has always wanted to be better. No matter how good she is at something, she wants more. She could be a 4.0 student. She wants more. She could be a 5-year starter. She wants more. And so that is very much built into her DNA. And so she really prioritized this summer. One, she took a fair amount of time off. We tease her about having an old lady body just because she's played so many minutes and things like that. So she took some time off, which she really needed. And so her body is feeling really good. The other thing she really focused on was perimeter scoring, like being able to shoot the ball consistently and confidently. Spent a lot of time. Matt Hauer on our staff is sort of a shooting coach expert. He himself was a great shooter and has taught a lot of great shooters. And so they spent a lot of time together on that. And I think we'll see that she's shooting the ball really well.
Hey, Coach, they say that teams that are player-led are some of the best and most successful teams. To have Jalen and Quay come back and be leading that locker room, how easier does it make it on you and your coaching staff?
Yeah, a lot easier. And honestly, someone asked me last week, who are the leaders on your team? And I started with, of course, Jalen and Quay, and then Kendall and Frida and Charlotte and Maddie. And I just kept going on and on. We're really, really fortunate in that we have a lot of people capable of leading. The thing I love most about that, they're all very capable, but they all have their own style. So sometimes, a younger player might need, they don't need someone to bark at them. They need someone to love them up and put their arm around them and say, it's going to be okay. Just here, I'm here to help you. And then sometimes, we need more of a foot in our butt and let's get going. We need to pick it up. And so we have all the different types of leadership we need within our team. And so collectively, they're fantastic. And I'm, in a lot of ways can just kind of sit back and let them take the reins.
Hey, Coach, Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. At the end of last season, kind of the talking point was, getting back to the NCAA tournament for back-to-back years for the first time in about 20 years. Mm-hmm. Obviously, your goal when you came here is just to get back to the NCAA tournament. Is the expectation this year to show the rest of the country that it is an annual expectation to get to the tournament and that it's not going to be a surprise going forward when Colorado gets back there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we now, as you said, back-to-back years is wonderful. For us, the expectation is every year. You know, how deep we go in the tournament will depend on, you know, our personnel and our health and, you know, injuries and things like that. But definitely the goal is every single year to be among the top teams in the country. You know, we recruit that way, we talk that way, we train that way. And so I believe that people should start anticipating that we'll be that team every year.
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask you about one of your transfers, Sarah Rose Smith. She was at Missouri last year. I believe she led them in rebounds last year, too. Just what does she bring to the team in terms of, you know, physicality?
Yeah, Sarah Rose Smith is has a lot of experience. So our two transfers bring a tremendous amount of playing experience with them. And Sarah did lead her team in rebounding. I think she had twice as many offensive rebounds as anyone else on her team, which for a 6'1" perimeter player is pretty awesome. And so she brings calm, she brings toughness, she brings hard work. She's versatile. She can play multiple positions on the floor. We will ask her to play multiple positions. It's just when you've played 3 years at a high level, you just have experience and savvy that, you know, it takes time to develop. So she's going to bring that to us.
Back over here. When I was talking to Sarah Rose and Maddie and just some of the new players, they all talked about Kendall and how Kendall was the player that they looked to kind of emulate.
Yeah.
What is it about Kendall that you appreciate that she's kind of like the player that they want to emulate?
The short answer is everything. I appreciate everything about Kendall. Ultimately, coaches want to coach players that they can trust. You know, trust to do what they're supposed to do. They don't have to be the best scorer in the world or the best rebounder in the world. If I can just trust you to do your job, you know, and do it to the best of your ability, any coach in the world will take a handful of those players, and that is Kendall. She's one of our hardest workers. She's one of our toughest players. She's one of our best defenders. She listens. She's coachable. She leans in when things are difficult, which inevitably they are during a basketball season. She leans into the discomfort and works to fix it, like doesn't shy away from anything hard. I credit her parents for raising her to be, you know, just such an incredible young woman who has such high expectations of herself and her teammates. She does a great job of holding people accountable. She calls people up to the standard when things aren't the way they need to be. And yeah, she's just unselfish and wants to win. Ultimately, very, very competitive.
Hi, Coach. Two questions. First, you talk about being locked in every single day, getting better every single day, but also coming off such a big step last year. How do you balance that kind of short-term focus one day at a time with, okay, this is the bar now?
Yeah, I think our players do it for me. You know, I think if you were to say, if anybody in our program were to say, oh, I can't wait for UCLA, you know, which is a month and a half down the road, or something, oh, it's so cool we're ranked, or, you know, like just something that took our focus away from today, I think you would have several of our upperclassmen that would remind them that all that matters is how do we perform today. You know, so I don't even really have to do it anymore. We talk about it a lot. We very much focus on the details of things like screening angles, passing with the correct hand, like small details. And so I think that keeps our focus very tight, like right here. But I also think our upperclassmen do a great job of that as well.
And I wanted to ask about Maddie Nolan. Obviously, she's one of the best shooters in Michigan basketball history,
Yeah.
but you also brought her name up when you were listing off the leaders of your team just a minute ago. What does that say? What does she bring to you guys? How is she going to help you guys on the floor? And what does that say about her that as someone new in such a veteran team, she's already earned that kind of respect from
Yeah, Maddie, I would put right in line with Kendall Wetta, like when I'm talking about just players you love to coach that are just going to work hard, do what they're supposed to do, be great in the classroom, be a great teammate. You know, everything you want her to do, she's doing above and beyond. And I actually met with her this morning. We were watching film and talking, and I said, it's really important that you look at this team. It's as much your team as it is anyone's team. You know, I've been here longer. Jalen's been here longer. Quay's been here longer. But you know what it looks like to win. You know what it looks like, you know, to be successful. And it's really important you share that knowledge with everybody else on the team. And so she's not afraid to speak up, hold people up to the standard and things like that. But she's going to be a great player. She's not just a shooter. She is a knockdown shooter, you know, but she can do a lot more than I think people know.
Hey, Coach, it feels like you've built a really good relationship with Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Even saw you had some of your recruits go and meet him.
Yeah.
What has it been like getting to know him, and also what has it been like coaching Shalomai?
Yeah, I mean, I tell anybody that'll listen, I love Coach Prime. I love what he's about. I love just the standards they have within their program. Very much line up with the things that mean a lot to us. Shalomai's no different. Like she works hard, she's coachable, she's listening, she's trying to, she's a freshman at a new school trying to catch up and keep up and, on a very veteran team, that's not an easy thing to do. So I appreciate Coach Prime. He came to practice yesterday and, got to watch a little bit. I told him he should bring his whistle next time. But yeah, no, I think he's incredible for this university, for this department. And again, it's not just the celebrities that are coming. It's not just the shine. Like it's the foundational things, that he's about that elevate and lift us all up.
Hi, Coach. I'm just curious, what went into organizing the LSU matchup, and why did Colorado want to raise their hand and say, we're going to play this matchup?
Yeah, great question. So Coach T does our scheduling. And the Hall of Fame is the group that's putting on this series. There's 4 games that day. We're just one of those games. Just an opportunity. When they asked us, I don't think there were a lot of people raising their hands to play the national champion who returned most everybody and added the best transfer class in the country. There weren't a lot of takers. But we love a challenge. It's a great opportunity. Kim Mulkey's a great coach. Their team is obviously really, really good. And we play in a great conference. We want to be challenged in our preseason. And, on a neutral floor, there's no better challenge, than to play LSU. So we thought about it and talked to our seniors about it and kind of went through that process and then said, yeah, we'll do it. We're excited.
Hey, Coach, the Pac-12 arguably has been the best conference for women's basketball for a very long time. Obviously, this being the last year that CU is in the conference, how important is it for you and this team to be able to compete one last time in this conference and to do as well as possible?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of an emotional season as far as we're not going to cry when we go to Oregon for the last time, but emotional in that the Pac-12 has meant so much to so many of us for so long. And so all of the coaches in our conference are very close, very connected. We recruited a lot of their players. They recruited our players. And so I just think it's going to be, an emotional trip. But also, I think as good as our conference has been, I think this will be the best year for the Pac-12 women's basketball. I think we have 5 teams ranked top 25 so far this year. I think there could be more. And I think it's just going to be really tough. I think everyone's really good, really competitive, and we should have a lot of teams in the postseason this year.
Hey, Coach, just kind of going off that question, about half the conference is ranked, and that's not unusual. That's pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Since you got here, how much has being in this conference helped you elevate this program, just knowing that you have to compete with that every single year?
Yeah, I think being in this league has definitely helped us elevate every part of our game. Like, it's not just the play on the floor, it's the recruiting, it's the, facilities, it's the branding, it's everything that you're trying to do to compete against the very best. I've said this many times, but the rosters in the Pac-12 are full of 5-star McDonald's All-Americans. They're all throughout the Pac-12. And so in order to be competitive with teams like that, you not only have to be tough and disciplined and things that we value, but you got to have great players, and you got to have strong coaches and strong culture and all of those things. So I think it's held our feet to the fire. Not that we really need that, but it's held our feet to the fire, I think, every day since we've been here.
Coach, you obviously we're talking about the emotion with this season. With this group of seniors that have all been here for a while, it's obviously a group that means a lot to you.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself trying to cherish the moments with this group? Obviously, these players are going to be in your life, for a long time. But do you just spending this last season with this group? Do you find yourself kind of cherishing kind of the daily aspects of being around them?
Definitely. Some of these seniors, in particular, Jalen and Quay, who've been here in 5th year and chose to come back 5th year, and I do spend a fair amount of time with them. I encourage all the players to come in our offices and hang out and spend time. But yeah, definitely. I try to be very present, along philosophically. We try to focus on day to day. I myself try to be very present, every day in what we're doing. But yeah, I try not to think about senior night. It's far enough away that I don't have to think about it yet. But But definitely love the players that have been in our program, and it'll be a sad day when they're done.
We talked to Coach Boyle, and he said that he would rather recruit freshmen than utilize the transfer portal, and how NIL has compromised building rosters and whatnot. What's your opinion on NIL and just recruiting, and how it's benefited or maybe negatively impacted your job?
Yeah, when people were talking about NIL, several years ago before it started, we were concerned that it would open a Pandora's box that would be very difficult to close. Only in that it would be seismic changes, that people have to very quickly be able to adapt to and adjust to. It definitely is changing the landscape of college recruiting for us. We actually just got a couple really big commitments that I can't talk about yet, but we're very excited about some of the freshmen we have coming next year. And then also a balance, though. I mean, there are times that you're going to need to plug a spot on your roster with a portal player. And so I think for us, we always want to recruit not just great basketball players, but great people that fit us culturally, that fit Boulder, and can really thrive here. And that's, I think, moving forward, going to be a really good balance of freshmen plus transfers. And so we'll always do our homework. We'll always try to find players that value the same things we do. And but for us, it's going to be, I think, a balance between the two.
Do you think NIL has made things more expensive?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's no question about that. It's changed the game. I think one of the cool things that we're really trying to do NIL-wise is pair leaders in our community with our student athletes. Like, it's not just, sure, you can hand a kid, from a business member, you can hand them $10,000, and that's wonderful. You also can create a partnership that will last our students much longer than the check will. And so trying to balance, then there's NIL money to be had, but also trying to balance the relationships that can last 10, 15, 20 years from now, and provide opportunities later.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thanks, guys. Go Buffs. Yeah.